Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of The Real PLC.
The Real PLC. We back with it. How we doing?
Coach Reed and Jay Will in the booth. And
rocking and rolling. But we got us something special today.
We got a banger today.
Man.
The man, the myth, the legend. I'm telling you right now, if you got a kid that plays in Troup County, Heard County, Coweta County, Alabama, this guy, like, there's a chance you know the guy.
He's talked to you. He's talked to your kid. And definitely.
The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kevin Eckleberry. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the Real PLC,
awesome.
man.
Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you inviting me in. Really looking forward to this.
Yes, sir. We appreciate you coming in, man. You know, we understand you have a very, very busy schedule, so we appreciate you stopping by the Real PLC, hollering at us today.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. So, once again, thank you. We're super excited for this. Kind of talking to some people, and we're like, hey, you'll never guess who we're going to have on today. And they're like, who? And I was like, Kevin Eckleberry. And they're like, no way.
Right. Everybody knows you. Everybody knows Kevin.
Oh, yeah. And shout out to Miss Serenity Graham for hooking us up on this one.
She's awesome.
She's going to be on here soon. Like, we're just going to make it happen. She doesn't have a choice. I
was telling you guys, I love this whole setup in here.
Oh, yeah.
For these students. What incredible experience, real life experience they get in here. Mm-hmm. It's really cool.
So, like, ultimately, like, when we're doing this, as soon as we finish this up, we're going to take the SD card to Miss Graham, and she's kind of like our first filter. She'll listen to the entire episode, and then after that, it is completely student, taken care of. It's it's absolutely phenomenal. So like as soon as it gets posted on YouTube and all that other stuff, like they're doing the heavy lifting. So
that's awesome. You guys are doing a great job too. I've listened to most of them, not all of them, but just great stuff. I was telling y'all, listening to, Coach Rob Dix, that was just fascinating.
Yes,
I could listen to him talk for hours on end. Just that's a great idea, great concept, and you guys are really pulling it off.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm just trying to do my best Eckleberry impersonation. Oh, man. So let's go ahead and jump into this. So let's start at the very beginning. Like, where are you from?
Well, we moved around a bit.
Okay.
I lived in Savannah for about 10 years. Then we lived in, you might not have even heard of this town, Claxton, Georgia. Claxton fruitcake. You ever heard of Claxton fruitcake?
I've heard of Claxton chicken.
Yeah. Yes.
Is that the same thing?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So it's just a really tiny town. Lived there for 4 years. I will tell you, I loved living in a small town like that in Georgia. It's really fun, especially on a football Friday night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, buddy.
The football stadium there, it was called the Pecan Grove. Right? Because it's literally surrounded by pecan trees. And it's just, I love small town football like that. It's just so much fun. And then we moved to Brunswick, Georgia, down on the coast, St. Simons, around that area. And that's where I went to high school and graduated from.
Cool.
Been a few years, 1987. That's why I know y'all are playing Guns N' Roses on the intro. That's my era of music. I make my daughter, bless her heart, she's 21 now, but she knows all those 80s songs because when we're in the car, I turn XM 80s on 8. And she complains about it, but I think she secretly likes it, though.
Oh, yeah. It's good music, man.
I will say, being a youngster that listened to the music my parents love, secretly I did love it.
Oh, yeah.
And I still listen to it to this day.
It gets stuck in your head now.
Yeah. You did a great job.
But I went to Brunswick High School. I love that city, and that's still, my parents live there. My sister still lives there, so I love that community. And obviously we go down there, kind of combine vacations, go stay on St. Simons with family trips and that kind of thing. So I graduated from Brunswick High School, loved it there. And then
were you playing any sports at Brunswick?
I did. I played tennis. I love tennis.
Okay.
Growing up, played a little golf, ran a little bit. I never played football, to be honest. I weighed about 140 pounds in high school. So I looked at these football players. But no, I don't want any part of that.
Reconsider.
And I love the sport. I'm kind of hypocritical because I love football on every level. But then even in high school, you get down there on the sidelines, you see the speed of it, the power. And I think, I made the right decision not to play that sport.
Making a business decision.
No doubt. But I loved every sport.
So what was it like when you were in school? Like, did you ever find yourself like pulled to like a certain like topic, certain subject? Like, what was like if you had to go back in school? What was your favorite thing to do?
I always loved anything to do with writing, which obviously that's kind of the career I chose.
Yeah.
Right.
Creative writing, essay writing, anything to do with that. English. I was always really interested in history too, and still am to this day. The one thing, math was not my thing. But I actually
in the same boat.
I actually married my wife, Julie. She's an accountant. So obviously she was nothing but math.
Oh, God.
Right? Nothing but. So it kind of worked out well when we had our daughter and she needed help. Yep. I could help her out with the writing, the English, and anything math related. To me, I lost it when they started to include letters
Yeah, I said the same
in
thing.
math.
Yeah.
It's like, come on now. I struggle with numbers. And now you're going to add letters on top of it. So, so no. And I honestly... I had my math teachers. I was so bad that maybe I shouldn't, but they would. they passed me along.
Oh no!
They would. I remember one geometry teacher in particular telling my dad, who was a teacher, he's an educator, science, and said, "Listen, we know Kevin's trying as hard as he can." So let's just give him a D plus or whatever, and send him on along. So
Lord,
they kind of knew the chances that I was going to go into engineering or something in my future, not real high. So let's just. But yeah, I absolutely loved writing.
Gotcha.
And I love sports. You know, those are my two things. So it made sense. When you think about, well, what do I want to do down the road? I love writing. I love sports. How can you combine those two?
Let's pair
so
it
I
up.
went into sports writing. It's interesting. My first, my whole family, they're nothing but teachers. Both my parents, my sister. So I started out as an education major.
Okay.
Right. And I went to Brunswick College for 2 years, and then I transferred to Georgia Southern.
Okay.
And obviously, I went to do a student teaching thing at a middle school, and I did that. And when I was done, I went into my advisor said, "I'm changing my major because I mean the real world experience for anything is so valuable because you really don't know is this what I want to do."
Yep.
And I realized, I don't have the temperament, the patience to do this for the next. I mean, you think about it, something I'm going to be doing this for the next 30 years minimum,
Yeah.
right? So, so I changed my major to journalism, and it worked out so well. Between high school and college, I joined right out of high school. I joined the Air National Guard.
Okay.
And that was incredible because that paid for my tuition.
Yeah.
And gave me spending money.
Yeah.
So that was. I highly recommend that. Anybody's looking, I really can't afford it, that kind of thing. Such a great resource to be able to do that. Yeah. So that afforded me to be able to go to college and then leave debt-free, which is so nice.
Let's say, what's that?
I know. So,
so were you doing like any journalism in high school? Like,
not journalism. I did a lot of writing.
Just a lot of writing.
In different courses and that kind of thing.
Were you a part of school paper? Anything like that?
I did not.
Okay.
No. I wasn't sure at that point if that's. I just knew I liked writing.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure.
So you were just you love football. You just didn't play. So you were at every game.
Yeah. I was actually in the band.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, me too.
Yeah. I played the trumpet.
Me too.
On Friday nights, and I loved it. That's why even now I mean, to me, a game night experience or a game day experience on a Saturday.
Yeah.
To me, obviously, football is the centerpiece, but all the other stuff surrounding it is what makes it so much fun.
Right. Yes. We were literally just talking about it yesterday in the hallway and talking about, so I did marching band in high school.
Right.
I marched at Herd High.
Okay.
I hope the listeners don't hold that against me. But like Friday nights, especially like home games.
Right.
Man. Like you were talking about small town football. And like,
I love Friday nights at Staples Stadium. So much fun.
Like just Friday nights in just a solid town. Like there's nothing like it. Like there's not, and
Everybody coming together.
oh my gosh, and so the marching band, like I feel that, like I got goosebumps because like just the electricity that you feel.
Oh, it was so much fun. And at Brunswick High School, it's a big school. We had like a 200-person band. Wow. So it was fun.
Oh, who's the big rival?
Brunswick. Well, they're in Glenn County. There are 2 high schools.
Okay.
There's Brunswick High School and there's Glenn Academy.
Okay.
So obviously that was our big, huge rival. I mentioned I played tennis at Brunswick High School.
Okay.
Glenn Academy, that's where all the, kind of the island kids.
Yeah.
So we'd play them in tennis, and they wouldn't even use like their varsity. I'm not even sure it was their JV.
Oh God.
It was and they'd still come out and beat us 6-0, 6-0.
Jeez.
But yeah, those were, and Friday nights, obviously you get those 2 schools, and it's in the stadium in Glen County. It's a big stadium, kind of like Callaway Stadium. So yeah, it was special. But like I said, going back to to me, there's nothing like small town football, like I mentioned before. And I know in the past, Callaway's kind of talked about maybe building a stadium.
That would be so
on campus.
Awesome.
Would that be incredible?
That would be so awesome.
You imagine what Friday nights here would be like. First of all, the players, they could just kind of march from the field house right onto the field. You get the caravan of cars driving in here.
Man, you talking about like
I wouldn't have to worry about parking.
Places just popping off, man.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, this place on a Friday night.
It'd be unreal.
Oh my God.
But Callaway Stadium's not a bad fallback. I mean, I love that place. Yes. Gosh, I've covered.
We're working on the LED lights now. Yeah. I just saw that in the paper.
Know. Yeah, which it's time.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if there'll be color.
It's been time.
Well, you go there on Friday night, you look up and you realize how many lights are missing.
Yeah.
You're like, man, we still playing great football down here. No lights.
I know. And it's apparently it's quite a project to actually change those lights up there.
I'm not.
No idea.
I wouldn't want to do it.
No. I'm afraid of heights.
Yeah, the LED lights be amazing. They do that over at a Ram Stadium in Valley.
Okay.
Right.
So they have LEDs?
They do. I've gone to a few Valley games, and they score a touchdown, and the lights are changing colors and everything.
Oh, I saw that Carrollton High one time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Carrollton lacks for nothing. Good gosh. They just, their coach, listen, we need a new locker room, new practice field. Just somebody write me a check. Yep, here you go.
No, dude, it's phenomenal, man. Like even just looking at just like high school sports, like I mean, I graduated in 2012.
Right.
Looking at how it's changed in 12 years, and I'm just like, bro, like this is a miniature college program.
Yeah,
like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like I get kind of jealous. Like I go back home sometimes and I look and I'm like, oh y'all got this because of everything we did before you.
Right.
It's like, man.
Yeah. They need a quarterback. They just get the best one in the country to come in and play.
It's insane. But it's even crazier. And I'm sure from like your side, like being like the sports journalist and I can only imagine like when you have to go talk to these people. But I'd sit here and as a coach, I'm like, you look at the impact of what was happening in like college football,
right,
or like college athletics, and then just the trickle down of it.
Yeah.
And it's always just like, oh my God, like at what point does it just trickle down completely? And
I think we're already there.
Is that going to be like the downfall of just organized high school sports?
Yeah, college football has changed so much. I know talking to the different folks here in Troup County who handle recruiting, that's just changed so much.
It's insane.
I know Andrew Carraway is a friend of mine. He does recruiting here at Callaway.
Yeah.
He tells me some stories. It's just so challenging right now because these schools, you used to build your team. You recruit players in high school. They come to your college program, and they're there for 3 or 4 years. Yeah. Now you can build a team literally by just pooling players from somewhere else.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So it's just so challenging, and obviously the NIL is
well, NIL's in high school.
NIL.
I know. That's pretty wild.
And so, like, my question is, like how long until, like, because we already got NILs, how long until you get a high school transfer portal? Like, you know how insane that would be?
Right.
Like, that, Like
I don't wanna think
I
about
don't
that, Coach.
I don't envy GHSA for having to make a decision on that.
I was thinking about like
Having
somebody
to police
like,
it.
Oh, dude.
there's somebody like Tank Bigsby. You know, if they had the NIL when he was in school.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's so many players. Like we could sit here for hours and just name players.
Oh, it's unreal.
That I mean, it's a game changer. So, but anyway, really chasing rabbits. But hey, that's a fun one to chase. So, you graduate from high school. You said you kind of went the education route. Like, no, that ain't happening.
Right.
So when you finish up at Georgia Southern, what's the plan? Are you just gonna try to find like a what is that? It's not me, is it? It's gone. All right, they heard that too. Anyway,
But
people are thinking we're crazy. So, like, did you have like a solid plan, or were you just kind of up in the air?
I did. First of all, I wanted to. My first year at Georgia Southern was Coach Irk Russell,
Okay.
who built that program in the early '80s. That was his last year, and that was actually the first team in college football history to go 15-0. So what a fun time
Yeah.
that was. And gosh, Georgia Southern football back in those days in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s was so much fun. And I love Saturdays at Paulson Stadium in Statesboro. Just incredible memories. And college is such a fun time.
Yeah, it is.
Gosh, it was amazing.
Yeah,
So,
it
but you graduate, eventually you realize, I can't stay in college forever.
Can't stay there forever.
Got to get out there. So I just sent, it was different in 1992, obviously. You just actually mailed resumes to, and I just sent them to different newspapers across the state. And just to see what was out there. And actually, it was a newspaper in Dalton, Georgia.
Okay.
The Daily Citizen. I got a response from them. They had an opening for a sports writer. So I went up there, interviewed, and it was different. I mean, Dalton, you go from Brunswick, Georgia to Dalton. They're in the same state.
Complete polar opposite.
But they might as well not be.
Yeah.
Right? I remember growing up, I might have seen snow 2 times, maybe. And that was just a little light dusting. So I go up there and accept the job, and it was really fun, and it's very interesting. Literally my first week there is in March of 1993, and about my second or third day there in 1993 March, we actually had a literal blizzard.
Oh no.
That hit Georgia. Just
oh no.
I mean, it was honestly probably the most impactful blizzard in the history of this state. And so I wake up, open my door, and snow is literally up to my knees.
Oh.
Right. So I had nothing. I walked like a half mile, which doesn't sound far, to get to the grocery store just to get something to eat. And I still, to this day, I think this person was an angel sent to help me out. Somebody in a truck was driving, and he actually let me climb in the back of his truck with my bags of groceries, and he took me back to my apartment.
Yo.
That's amazing.
So it was
cow.
so you talk about a culture shock. I remember calling my parents. I said, I'm going to come back home. No, just stay there. So obviously I did, and it was an incredible experience. And one of the coaches that I worked with at the time was Coach Bill Napier, who was obviously Matt Napier's father, just a legendary coaching figure at Murray County High School up there. So I got to get to know him, and that was just so much fun. That's a great football community in Dalton. The Dalton Catamounts are a historic program. So that was just so much fun, and I learned so much being a part of that. Again, I'd done some internship stuff in college, but you never really learn until you actually get out there and start doing it.
Were you doing any like any of the sports journalist stuff in college?
Actually, I didn't do sports in college. I went and worked at it was the Statesboro Herald.
Okay.
The newspaper in
Gotcha.
Statesboro. Did an internship there, and basically that was whatever they needed me
Gotcha.
to do.
It wasn't like specific.
No.
Okay.
It's like we need somebody to do something. Let's get Kevin to go talk to third runner-up in the Miss Georgia contest or something.
Oh, man.
Whatever comes to, which is, again, great experience.
Yeah.
But I knew I wanted to do
Do
sports.
sports, gotcha.
Which is and I did that for 2 years in Dalton. And the best part of that experience is that's where I met my wife, Julie.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she grew up in Dalton. Okay. And I kind of joked, she was working at Chick-fil-A at the time. And I went there like pretty much every day. So basically stalking.
Could have been the really good sandwiches.
The food is really good. The food is really good.
And finally, I got up the nerve to ask her out, and we did. And then about a year later, we got married. So it was a great experience there for a lot of reasons, and mostly for that. And we've been married for 30 years now.
Awesome.
Congratulations.
So when you were sending your resumes out, did you have a place in mind? Where did Kevin want to go?
Not really.
Okay.
No, I knew I wanted to go somewhere different.
Gotcha.
Right.
So
So,
you did that.
yeah, I mean,
Made sure of that.
I mean, a lot of people, you kind of grow up in a place, and that's kind of where you want to stay. Mm-hmm. And I 100% get that. I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
Just try a different part of the state, and like you said, I did. And I was there for 2 years, and I kind of, after that, I jumped all over the place. I went from Dalton to Albany.
Okay.
Right. And that
Switching
was
polar opposites again.
and again, that was actually a non-sports thing. They had a weekly newspaper. It was called the Lee County Herald. Okay, and Lee County is a suburb of Doherty County. And I actually ran a weekly newspaper. I was in charge of it. I did that for like a year and a half. And it was miserable. I mean, I'd go sit through, again, this stuff is incredibly important. School board meetings, county commission meetings, city council meetings, just vital to a community. Yeah. But for me, it was torture.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Sitting through a school board meeting and just the numbers and everything. So I thought, I can't do this.
No shot.
So we did that for a year. And then I moved up to Rome, Georgia. Okay, I worked at the Rome News Tribune, and I loved that job. That was so much fun. I worked for the editor there. His name was Jim O'Hara.
Okay.
He was an incredible person, and he passed away earlier this year. And we actually went to his funeral, and it was a sad occasion, but it was like a reunion of people who worked for him.
Yeah.
So that was so much fun to see all those people.
Rome is a pretty good spot for some sports too.
Rome's incredible. Yeah, what I kind of like about Rome is it's mostly made up of smaller schools.
Yep.
Rome High School is pretty big, but outside of that, it's like Model High School, Pepperell, Coosa, just smaller schools. Yeah. And it's the same like the surrounding counties. So that was so much fun.
Yeah. You get some college though. What you got? Is it shorter?
Shorter college
there
and Berry College, which is where my wife graduated from, Berry College. So that was so much fun. And again, there just got to do a lot of different things. One of the really cool things when I was in Rome, that was the '96 Olympics. In Atlanta. So we went and covered that quite a bit.
That's a sports journalist's dream.
Oh, it was incredible. That was such a fun 2 weeks. Just being a part of that and just walking around and experiencing that was so much fun. Gosh, I went to baseball. I think I remember table tennis.
Yeah.
It was covered a few of the track and field events. Jeez. So that was an amazing time. And I was also in there. We covered the Braves also.
Okay.
And so I was there in 1995. I was able to go cover the World Series, the one they won in 1995, which is great. I was also in the 1996 in Fulton County, or was it Turner Field by then? For one of the most
Turner then.
It was, yeah. One of the most horrific. I think 96 was it Turner? I think it was Turner Field, but it was one of the most horrific moments for an Atlanta sports fan, and we've had a few of them. It was game 4 of the World Series against the Yankees.
Yeah.
I think the Braves were up 6-0, right? Closing in, and going up 3-1. They end up losing that game, and I was sitting in the stadium. And I thought at the time, boy, it can't get any worse for an Atlanta sports fan than this. I was wrong.
Just keep on living.
I was wrong about that. That's the Super Bowl story. Oh my gosh, it was our way going into the future. Sitting there with 4 of my friends, and I still remember one of them asking me, it was in the third quarter, "Hey, do you think we should all try to get together and go to the parade?"
Oh, that's
on Monday. I looked at the guy. I haven't hit someone in anger in quite a while. I thought about doing it then. What are you doing? And sure enough, we know how it ended up. Anyway, so that was an incredible experience in Rome. Going back to that.
Now, I'm gonna show how young I am.
Yeah.
I guess. Were the Rome Braves there at the time?
They were not.
Not yet.
No,
Okay.
no.
Gotcha.
That was to pass. I think they've been there. Gosh, probably close to 20 years now. So it has been quite a while.
I was about to say, like, I'm gonna show how young I am.
Yeah.
So I've always thought they were there. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they've been there. I bet it's been 20 years now.
Gotcha.
So that was a really fun experience. But I was there for 3 years, I think, and then moved on again. I went from there to Cartersville,
Okay.
Georgia, which is just a little north of Rome. I went there. I'd been just a sports writer, and Cartersville gave me the chance to be a sports editor. Right, to actually run a sports section.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. That was a valuable experience. I was there 1999. Cartersville won a state championship in football.
Jeez.
And I still say, people ask me who's the best high school football player you've ever seen. And Cartersville had a player that year his name is Ronnie Brown. He actually does like radio for Auburn now.
Like,
wait,
Ronnie Brown?
Like running back from
Yes.
Running back.
Yes.
So
that was a good team at Cartersville.
I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
We've he's actually been in the studio before too.
Yeah.
So not this past Black History program, but the last year we did a town hall in the big studio right next door to us.
Right.
And he was one of the panelists.
Oh, that's awesome.
So when you said the name, that's why we were like, wait, that guy?
Yeah, but
Ronnie?
he was incredible. He took a team that was good and actually willed them to a state championship. He was that good.
Jeez.
And I've covered, some incredible players over the years. I thought I'd never see a running back like him again. And then I saw Tank Bigsby here at Callaway. he was pretty dang special. So that was, that was so much fun working in Cartersville. And I met a good friend of mine who we're still friends to this day. That was so much fun. And gosh, I was there for four years, I think. And then in 2002, I can't remember why exactly. I think they'd sold the newspaper or something. So I thought, it's time to go do something new. Mm-hmm. So again, I looked out. By this point, you could actually go online and look at different jobs. So that was nice. And I saw an opening for a sports editor in LaGrange, Georgia.
I was just going to ask you, how in the world did you end up in LaGrange, Georgia?
I thought I've heard of LaGrange, but I've never been there, don't know anything about this place. All I knew was that LaGrange High School had a really weird nickname. It's like, I think they're the Grangers. Yeah. Like, what is that all about? So, and of course they'll tell you, what's a Granger? A Granger's a winner, right?
Yeah, until the U.S. history nerd hits them. It's named after Marquis de Lafayette's French house, right?
Yeah.
LaGrange.
But I came here to do an interview in 2002, and it just seemed right. I mean, you hear like college recruits talk about they go somewhere, well, it just feels like home, right? They say, and it literally did for me. I don't know, it just felt really comfortable. I went and interviewed Andrea Lovejoy, who was the editor there at the LaGrange newspaper for a long time, 20 years. She interviewed me, and I said, man, this just feels right. So obviously I talked to my wife about it and said, yeah, let's do it. Let's go there. And at the time I figured I'd been in the business for 10 years by that point, worked at like 5 different places. So we probably thought this is going to be kind of the same thing, maybe. But here we are, 20 plus years later, and it's really interesting. The day I was supposed to start at the LaGrange Daily News, 2002, August, literally that same day, my wife went into labor with our daughter.
Wow.
That same day. So I called Andrea, said, hey, be okay if I start a couple days later? Because my wife's, and she, yes, of course, that's fine. So
It's acceptable.
so our daughter, Rachel, was born on August 12th, 2002, and then I started work a few days later, and, we actually bought a house in LaGrange and lived there ever since. Kind of our first home in Troup County was actually in Hogansville, because we were kind of in that process. We're selling one house and looking to buy another, so we rented a home. And this will kind of tell you how long ago that was. It's about $300 a month.
Oh yeah.
Woo. It was a nice home.
I say you find one of those right now. Woo.
I wouldn't want to
Stick it
live
out.
somewhere probably that's $300
Nah.
a month. So we bought our house, and again, this will tell you something. We bought our house for $145,000.
You ain't finding one of them today either.
No. I mean, it's a 4-bedroom house, 1 acre lot.
Yeah.
So
You
Dreams.
You ain't finding that now.
no. It's again, my daughter's at that age where she's 21, when a lot of people are kind of starting out, and it costs so much more.
Yes.
And then when I was that age starting out, I had to pay my rent, which my apartment was a couple $100 a month.
Yep.
And you pay for cable if you have that, $15. That's about it.
Yeah.
And electricity now, it's just, you go somewhere maybe $1,000 a month for rent.
Yeah. It's
So
insane.
it does. So the cost of living, it's gone up so much.
Drastic.
So I fully sympathize. But to circle back, we just we came here to LaGrange and just we love the community, and I thought I moved around a lot, like I mentioned. I thought it'd be nice for my daughter to be able to have one home.
Yeah.
From when she's born until she graduates from high school.
Yeah.
And we did, and now she's at West Georgia.
Okay. Go Wolves.
I know, yeah.
Go
So
Wolves.
she loves it over there, and it's good for her because it's far enough away where she gets to be away from us.
Yeah.
But if she wants to pop back home,
It's not.
She
it's
can
not
do that and
ride.
ask-
In and out real quick.
ask us to get Waffle House for her. but it's been such an amazing experience here in LaGrange. In the LaGrange Daily News, I was the sports editor there for almost 20 years.
Gotcha.
And that was and again, the time I came was such a great time too. It was 2002. Obviously, LaGrange High School would just come off a state championship in 01.
Yep.
And they came close in 02.
Yeah.
And then they won it in 03 and 04.
Yeah.
And I still tell people the best high school team I've ever covered was the 2004 LaGrange High School team that went 15-0. And they had a defense. They didn't just beat people up; they literally scared people.
Yeah.
They had guys like Trey Blackman, Travis Hart, Braxton Kelly, and Wesley Woodyard wasn't even on that.
No,
team.
he wasn't.
03
He was
was
before.
his last year, so just and of course Coach Donnie Branch, leading those defenses. Coach David Traylor coaching the offenses. Steve Hardy was the head coach. So gosh, those are such fun teams. And then of course. In 2005, they were looking for a new coach here at Callaway High School, and they made a pretty good decision, I think.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think they nailed that one on the head right there.
To go with Pete Wiggins and just what a job he's done.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you look at Callaway had some success before 05, and Claude Giddens, who's one of my favorite people, was the head coach, and he actually brought Pete. They'd worked together in Alabama, and when he came here, he brought Coach Wiggins with him. And then when Coach Giddens stepped aside, he kind of, pushed for Coach Wiggins to get the head coaching job, and he did. And gosh, and then you think about not just him, but Coach Dusty Hubbard.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who I believe he was at I think Villarica at the time.
I think I've talked to him before. I think he was at Villarica and then came here.
Then he came here, and then of course Matt Napier, who was a really young coach at the time. And those three worked side by side for 15 years until obviously Coach Napier went to LaGrange High School in 2020, and Coach Hubbard was defense coordinator from 2005 until 2023, and he's not going to be doing it next year, which I fully get. I mean, I've talked to him about that, and you think about the grind of being a baseball coach and a defense coordinator.
Yeah.
So
the grind never stopped.
No,
he don't get a break.
That's year round, man.
Yeah,
it's year round.
No, it does not. So so these past 20 plus years here in Troup County, it's been such a blessing to be a part of, and the student athletes I've had the privilege to cover just incredible. You go back, like I said, those early days in the 2000s. Just not just at LaGrange, but obviously Troup High School. Some of the players they had in the 2000s, unreal, and then here at Callaway, and I think it's about 2007 when Callaway football really started to become what it is, and some of the players they had in those early days. And it was really cool for me. Quantavious Leslie, he was a wide receiver for Callaway. Now he's back home and he's coaching youth football. So he was one of those players that really helped turn things around. Quan Bray in those early days, and then on and on. Terry Godwin on up to Tank Bigsby, Braylon Sanders is just just incredible. Well, not just football. You go across the sports spectrum. Basketball in this community,
it's insane.
Is so good. And,
I gotta ask you, because I remember seeing you at my high school game when I was at Troup. How in the world are you everywhere to report on everything? Like, you have an update at all times.
It's like he's like a ninja. He just poof, there he is, and then poof, he's at another game. It's like, dude,
it helps. I drive a Prius. I love that car. When I was looking for a car, I thought, first of all, as much as I drive, I need good gas mileage, and getting that 55 miles per gallon helps. Helps a lot. And so I just get in that thing and just drive. You just get where you can. And of course now with the working with BEETV at the TV station, we also cover Chambers County schools, so which has been a lot of fun as well. So even more now. But you just do as much, and you rely on, and coaches are so helpful as well. So my big thing is I love spotlighting student athletes and just doing what you can to help them and get the word out about their accomplishments, and the coaches as well. So you don't want to leave any stone unturned. You can't get everywhere. Sometimes I know it seems like you are everywhere, but you can't literally do it. You try.
No,
I was thinking the day when we're recording this, I think Callaway, LaGrange, and Troup baseball teams are all at home. There's a soccer match going on as well. So you try to you come up with a plan beforehand. Where I'm going to go here, and it doesn't always work out that way. I remember a few weeks ago, like, okay, I'm going to go to Callaway at 5:30, be there for 20 minutes. And I get to Callaway, and the team they're playing is not there yet.
I think there was a moment where, like, I was walking out to the scoreboard and I saw you walking up, and you're like, "Where are they at?" And I was like, "You tell me. I don't know."
I didn't think. Usually, I text a friend of mine, Rusty Taylor, whose son Luke, who's unfortunately dealing with a knee issue right now, and I wish the best for him. But I'll text him and say, "Hey, is the team here yet?" So, I mean, it's sports. Sports is unpredictable. It's part of why I love it. I'm sure you guys do. Just so much in life, you kind of know what's going to happen. Sports, you literally do not. It's part of the reason. The NCAA tournament's one of my favorite things, especially those first couple of days, because you have no idea
who's going to be Cinderella,
what's going to happen.
I love to see the big dog go down.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too.
Awesome. Those are some great games.
Who do you who's your pick in this March Madness, in this bracket?
I didn't even fill one out.
Oh no,
I didn't even think about it. It's I loved college basketball. I loved it growing up, and part of the reason in the 80s and on into the 90s, part of the reason I loved it is you really knew every play. Like the 92 Duke Blue Devils. Right now, you can name that starting five, right? Yeah. And players and teams were together for 3 years. Now it's just so hard.
Yeah.
But with that said, there's still nothing like the tournament. You don't have to know who the coaches or the players are
This is good basketball.
To enjoy that and just those upsets and you see how much it means.
Yeah.
Means to the players on any level. It's just you see, like in high school, you see the effort and the passion these players in any sport pour into it, and the coaches as well.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason I get a little upset when I see people who are critical of like high school coaches, especially which happens. It's like you have no idea what these coaches.
No.
deal with. Think about a football coach. You have a team, 100 players on a team, and every single one of those players, they have their own challenges.
Yep.
Some of them come from really, honestly, dysfunctional backgrounds.
Yeah.
And you're really tasked with, putting all this together, building a team, building cohesion. And we're very blessed here in Troup County to have the coaches we do,
no doubt,
that are leading these young men and these young women. And I know, number one, when I talked to Coach Wiggins, obviously he's proud of the wins, obviously, but he's more proud when he sees players he coached, come back after maybe they've graduated from college and they're working now, they have families. I know that means so much more to him than the wins. Although that state championship meant a lot.
Oh yeah,
to him, and that's that 2020. First of all, what a weird year.
That was a crazy year.
Yes.
Man.
But being on the field at Center Park Stadium, I was trying to remember the name of the stadium. It's still Turner Field.
It's still Turner Field. Yep.
But being on the field that day to watch Callaway beat Fitzgerald, an incredible game.
Oh, it was a phenomenal game.
But I know as soon as that was over, the first person I looked for was Coach Wiggins.
Yeah.
And I could just see the look on his face. You just see how much it meant to him, and the same with Coach Hubbard.
I'm getting goosebumps.
Yo, I was in the press box, and I'm like, "Where's Wiggins? Where's Wiggins?"
Oh, my gosh.
There he is.
I'll tell you one of the things that stands out, too, is one of the people who was happiest that day was Coach Trey Tucker.
Yes.
Who sadly passed away.
Yeah.
But, gosh, you talk about somebody that represented Callaway High School.
Yes.
Coach Trey Tucker, this school meant everything to him.
Embodiment of Callaway High School.
Yes, and to see him celebrating that day meant so much, because it's just, again, you see how much these players poured into it, and to see it come to fruition. And at the same time,
through that adversity too, because it's 2020, it's COVID.
It's so weird.
Like for me, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like these kids are having to figure out life through COVID, school through COVID, and
ball
sports through COVID.
But I remember, Callaway, I think that year they ended up, a lot of the players ended up having school in the indoor facility. I think just to
make sure they weren't getting sick or exposed to anyone that was.
It's just stuff you never think you'll have to deal with. I remember that summer, I think it was at Troup High School. I was going over to, it was like the first practice when everything started again, and it was in their indoor facility, and I went in and you had to fill out like a questionnaire, right? And they took your temperature before you go in. I'm thinking, this is a different kind of world.
Oh, yeah.
And it was also my daughter, she was a senior in 2020, so she's a part of that. The COVID class is what I call it. I just remember it was so heartbreaking for the seniors in the spring sports in 2020 to have that taken away.
Yeah.
I mean, I understood the GHSA and everybody did absolutely the best they could.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody had experience dealing with this. There was no blueprint or outline. Let's see, how do we deal with a
global pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, that's like fiction stuff, right?
Right.
It's page 99.
For me, I was so hurt because I'm like, man, like kids in college, man, they just get that. They get another year.
They do.
You know, but high school, that's it.
You're done.
That is it.
Yeah.
I started preaching to kids like, man, you never know.
Yeah.
These kids didn't think that was going to happen.
Well, I think it's changed a lot of like how even like coaches look at it too.
Right.
Like, because you know, there's, like you said, there's so much about sports that's just unpredictable. Yeah. But that was the epitome of it. And so I feel like you kind of coach a little bit different because it's like, hey, it's happened once.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, knock on wood, it never happens again. But in the event, we're going to have something in place to it's weird. It was such a weird time.
It is. I know when I talk to seniors now, one of the first questions I always ask them, does it seem like those 4 years went by fast? And they always say, yes, it does. I remember a recent game, I talked to Bryce Hubbard, Coach Dusty Hubbard's son, and I remember it was literally yesterday when he was a freshman.
Yeah.
Right? And I remember that was such a special team. They made it to the state semifinals, and I'm like, Bryce, how are you a senior now? How was that? Yeah. So how was that possible?
My first time like coaching, I was coaching travel baseball.
Okay.
It was a 10U team, and Bryce was on the 10U team.
Wow.
And so, you know, I went a separate way. I coached at Hurd for a little bit, and then when I came back, and I'm like, oh my God, he's a sophomore now.
Right.
And I'm like, and then so like how you asked him, like, you know, how are you a senior now? I was like, last time I saw you, you were 10. Like, this is weird. Like, you're not 10.
No, that happened. Now I'll have, it always means so much to me. I'm at a football game or something. Somebody will come up to me and, Mr. Kevin, how are you?
Yep.
Like, oh, yeah. So you graduated, was that 2014?
Yeah.
No, that was 2004. So it's just crazy. The years just go by so fast. And again, when you do this as long as I have, it's just so cool to kind of form those relationships with players and watch them develop. And you mentioned youth baseball.
Yeah.
It's, like I know at Troup High School, they're like nothing but freshmen and sophomores. And all those kids played together on the same travel team, and now they're in high school together.
Oh, yeah.
And that's so cool to me.
So what has it been like for you going from when you started out, you're talking about like getting in with like a newspaper,
right,
to all of a sudden like you see this change in like technology and then the shift to where it's completely like social media driven. Right. How's that changed for you?
Oh, I love it. First of all, I tell people stories about when I started out. Just taking pictures has changed so much. When I started out, we used film. Right, so I would go out on an assignment, take my pictures, and then I'd come back to the office. And I'd have to go into the dark room and process my film.
Jeez.
Right, which was awful. Right. So then, and it wasn't until it's about the early 2000s when you made the transition to digital cameras. Life changing, absolutely life changing, and but it has changed. I love technology. I've embraced every change that comes along. Yeah. Some people have not, to be honest. They're like, no, I like things to be the way they were. So no, I think it
benefits you.
It does, and it's like any other business. You adapt to it, or you don't.
Right.
Right. And if you don't, then you're going to get
left behind.
Left behind. And the newspaper business, it was really tough.
Yeah.
Because it used to basically kind of have a monopoly, to be honest. And then all of a sudden, you know, people can get the same information they used to get from a newspaper anywhere. Yeah. I remember growing up, if I wanted to read about the Braves, I'd have to get the AJC. Yeah. Right? And now if I want to read about the Braves, there's literally 30 different ways I can get that.
Yeah, I was just saying
that information. So
if you just follow their Instagram or their Facebook, got it.
So what I've always strived to do, what you want to do is give people something that they can't get somewhere else, right? And that's what I've always tried to do. Yeah. Whether it's at the newspaper, what I'm doing now with BEETV, with the interviews, in-game highlights, post-game interviews. You want to know people, if they want this is where they go to get it. And so I really embrace that. And the cool thing now, you look at these young people in here, if they want to go into a career in media, there's so many different options.
Yeah.
Now it's not just
they get on the job training. Here.
They do. And you can go. I know Grayson Batchelor's in here. He's like doing his own thing in high school, and you can do that now. You can. You don't have to go work for somebody.
No.
Yeah.
You can work for yourself.
He's at the games with his camera and everything.
Yeah. So it's to me, I mean, change for some people can be scary, but never for me. I've embraced everything. I love social media. The digital age has been amazing. It's just to get information. Right. When I was starting out, if I wanted to find out about a college player, I'd have to call the school, right? Say, hey, can you give me information on so and so? Now, just boom.
Yep.
Let's go to the website. So
it's on their player profile.
Yeah.
Just copy it. Go.
I'm curious as well. Has there been a time where you had an opportunity to cover a really cool or interesting event and you couldn't make it? And if so, what was it?
Not really.
Okay.
No, a lot of people I started out with, their goal was they wanted to go cover college or pro sports, right?
Okay.
I never really had that desire. I love community sports.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's my thing. So and so I love being a high school sports writer, reporter. That's what I've always wanted to do.
Well, you also get an opportunity to meet the kids, the
Yes.
coaches at a I guess lower level, I guess,
Yes.
or
Yeah.
a more real level.
Yeah,
I guess I'll say
you
that.
get to know people
Yeah.
more. Again, I've worked at larger newspapers and I prefer larger organizations. In a place like this, you really do get to know people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I come over here to Callaway High School. I've known Coach Wiggins for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
So just I just love coming over, just sitting and talking to him, talking to Coach Hubbard.
Yep.
You know, just nothing work related.
Right.
And at the same over at LaGrange, you know, go sit down and talk to Coach Branch or Coach Napier.
Yeah.
Or over at Troup High School, Coach Glisson or Coach Carla Thornton, who's been there for forever. Just sit and talk to people, and that's the benefit of being somewhere for 20 plus years.
How does it make you feel when you've reported on this kid and interviewed this kid, and you see them be successful at the college level,
it's incredible.
And then they make that jump to the professional ranks, and you're like, yeah, I remember when what does that make you feel?
I remember when I saw Tank Bigsby was drafted. Was that the third round? I think the third round by the Jaguars. That was such a proud moment because again, he's one of those guys you follow from youth football, honestly, on up to high school.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then you see him get that opportunity. That's amazing. Yeah. It really is. And one of my other favorite people I've covered is Ryan Bliss, the baseball player from Troup High School.
Yep.
And I was actually able to talk to him on the phone a few weeks ago.
Oh, that's so cool.
And to see somebody like that who's put so much into it, just an incredible person, first of all. And now he's just climbing the ladder, and he's got a chance to be on the big league roster with the Seattle Mariners. So
that'd be huge.
It would be. It would be.
Yeah,
cool. There's just so many like that. You go way back, and Wesley Woodyard, who we mentioned earlier, just one of my favorite people in sports. Yeah. To see him have a 10-year pro career.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. You look back, if you'd asked me in 2003, which one of these LaGrange players is going to play in the NFL for 10 years, I don't think I would have said Wesley Woodyard. There's some other guys on that defense that might have had better stats, kind of flashier players.
Yeah, bigger, more size.
Yes. Yeah. But he was the guy. He had all the physical tools, but he also had that incredible work ethic, that drive. Something that the greatest athletes I've covered, obviously they have the athletic ability, but go back to Tank. He just the will he had. I think about his last football game was a loss, unfortunately, in the semifinals to Brooks County, a game here at Callaway Stadium. One of the most incredible individual efforts I've ever seen I think he ran for like 280 yards that night.
Jesus Christ!
Just he had
went on a tear.
Obviously had incredible athletic ability, but the just the will he had. It's like I'm not going to be stopped.
Yeah,
and just the really next level athletes they have the athletic gifts, but they also have that mental strength and the work ethic.
Yeah. So, I'm gonna throw this in there too. Humility.
Yes.
He came to the basketball game a few weeks ago, and it was the same tank that I had in class in junior year. Yeah. Like, what's up, coach? How you doing? It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah. And another guy who had that was Teo Todd over at Troup High School. Yeah. Just recently. Another guy had everything. Yeah. And so guys like that, it's just so much fun to see them, develop their craft and have coaches who push them to be their best. I know Tank had that here at Callaway High School. Coaches who they didn't treat him any different. And I think he appreciated that. Yeah. And Callaway's had so many superstar players here. They're just part of the team. Yep. And I think that's helped them. And it helps them when they go off to college, too. Yeah, when you get to college, you realize, okay, I'm really nothing special. I'm just one of the people. Yeah. And so I think some high school athletes struggle with that, to be honest. They get to college and wait a minute.
I've been the guy for the last 2 or 3 years.
You're supposed to be treating me special. What's going on here?
My first ever interview when I went to play college baseball, and this is no lie, was how does it feel to go from high school hero to college zero? And I just looked at that person and I said, I think you got the wrong guy. Because I was like, no. I didn't want to embrace that, but it was like, whoa. Yep. It is one of those, you realize college is different.
Yeah. It is. That's why a lot of players, you go in the junior college route's not a bad idea. Yeah. Because it kind of helps with that transition. And you're going to play as well. Whereas if you go to a larger school, you might have to sit for a year or two.
Yeah. That's wild. Golly. So, just question. So, if you had to talk specifically to the students here at Callaway High School about going into journalism, maybe the sports side of it, what would be your sales pitch?
Number one, and this is what I did, make sure you marry someone who has income potential. It's been an awesome way to make a living. It's not what I'd call lucrative by any stretch, but I would not trade it for anything. But my wife, bless her heart, we've always been in a place financially where I can afford to do things. Yeah. But my advice would be just do what you enjoy. Yeah. That goes for anything, honestly. When I talk to my daughter, not that she comes to me for advice often, but just do something you enjoy, because you're going to be doing that for 30, 40 years. Yeah. I'm sure y'all worked with people like this too, that they show up for work because, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm here today. I can't believe I've never had a day like that. I mean, obviously some days are better than others, but right. I wake up and it's like, man, what do I get to go do today? I can't wait.
You're about to go be entertained by sports.
Right. Yeah.
And then let other people know what happened too.
I mean, there's certain places you work now where things can kind of go south. Yeah. That's just the reality. Yeah. But the job itself, my gosh, I've embraced every day of it. Yeah. So my advice to any of them would be just, if it's something you really enjoy and you have a passion for it, go make it happen. Yeah. And the great thing about the media world today, there's so many different ways to go out. And there are still newspapers if you want to go that route. You can still go work in an actual newspaper, but you have radio, you have TV, blogs, YouTube, just so many different outlets now. Yeah. And just make sure, to me, college is all about finding out what it is you want to do. Go experience different things. Yeah. Go do, classwork's important, but to me, actually getting out and doing something, do an internship, like I did with education, you find out, is this something I want to do?
Yeah.
So just find out what you're passionate about and go chase it. And sometimes you might not know what that is, and that develops as you go along. And sometimes you change careers. I mean, I was on the plus side of 50. You know, I thought I was gonna just be a newspaper person until I retired, right? And fate sometimes dictates, no, that's not how it's going to work out. Right. So my time at the newspaper ended, and I tried a couple of different things. Yeah. And I honestly thought I was never going to have the chance to cover high school sports again, and that was kind of depressing, to be honest. And then this opportunity came along. April Ross bought the TV station. Yeah, in LaGrange, and she
TV 33.
Yes, and she rebranded it as BEETV.
Yeah, we're gonna have her on right before spring break.
That's gonna be awesome. Yeah, and she reached out to me, and it was honestly, you hear people tell these stories. Sometimes it's meant to be. Fate intervenes, and I 100% believe that, because she came to me, and it was. And I'm so appreciative to her for doing that, because LaGrange is our home. Yeah. With my wife, she's a partner at Boatwright Accounting here in LaGrange. So this is our home. We're not going anywhere. Yeah. So I had to it was either find something like that or go get like an office type job. And I got to be honest, sitting in an office, that seems like the most miserable experience. Yes. And God bless people that do that. Yeah. But I could not. I've got to be able to go. That seems
like a punishment for someone like yourself.
my office, you might have seen me, I've got like a backpack. Right? Yeah. Oh. It's got my camera in there. It's got my laptop. It's got my tripod where I set it up to do interviews with people. That's my office. Yeah. That's how I want it. Right. You know, so it's been such a blessing, and to make kind of a drastic kind of career change, you know, at that age, could be scary for some people. I loved it. Having the chance to do something new.
You've been that way. Listening to your story, you've been that way your whole life.
And I think everybody should be like that. Just, that's what I've always done. So, no, I mean, I don't
see what else we can do.
Like my father, who's my role model, Vernon, is his name. He was 70 years old, and he just said, you know what, I want to be. So he actually got an online script writing degree, right? And he started making YouTube movies.
What?
Yes. Wow, and he's always been that kind of person. He's like, what's the next thing I'm going to do? Mm-hmm. And so I think, we should all be like that. Yeah. I mean, if you have something, this is what I want to do forever, that's fine. But gosh, never be afraid to go do something new. Even get out of your comfort zone, right?
So you said your dad's making YouTube movies. Has he always been kind of the creative writing?
He is.
Is that where maybe a little spark?
Probably, yeah. He's really kind of a technological genius, I'd say. He used to build computers at home back in the early days, which is kind of how you had to do it back in the late 70s and early 80s. So my parents were both incredible, and still are. Yeah. My whole family, my brother and sister were both like these super high achievers. Yeah. My sister's one of these people, gosh, whatever it is, she was absolute best. Best at it. And she's only like a year younger than me. But it's just to have that kind of family support. Yeah. My parents were there and said, listen, you do whatever you want to do. We just want you to be happy. And that's kind of the way I've been with my daughter.
Man, that's so cool.
Do you remember the first story that you published, sports story that you published, and you were like, I'm really good at this?
Yeah, I don't, to be honest. That was 1993. so it's been a few years. It was the spring, so it would have been like a baseball story. Yeah. Or something. So
did you have to deal with any self-doubt in yourself? It doesn't sound like based on your story, but sometimes I feel like we fight against ourselves, battle against ourselves sometimes.
Well, the one thing, and you run into this in sports, you have to know you're going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. You're going to do things wrong, sometimes big mistakes. Right. And I have along the way, and it's you can't be afraid to do that. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, I'm so worried I'm going to do something wrong. Yeah. Yeah, especially back in, a newspaper, if you make a mistake in a story, it's there forever.
Yeah.
So it happened. So no, I never really had that doubt. I mean, if you believe in yourself, which again, that comes back to your parents.
Yeah.
Always supporting you and encouraging you. So not to say I've done plenty wrong over the years, still do even now, I'm sure. But it's just again, I'm so blessed. You find something that you want to do, and it brings you happiness. And I've done that over years, and I still love writing, and I still do a fair amount of that. But basically, for me, it just comes down to I enjoy telling stories.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that just comes through like this, just sitting down and talking to somebody, doing interviews. One of the things I do for the TV station each week, it's like an hour-long interview show. I call it Kevin's Corner.
Okay.
Not real creative, I know, but that's been so much fun just to sit down. The first one I did was with Coach Bubba Jeter.
Okay.
Yeah.
He
was my head coach.
Oh, he's awesome. I love Bubba. One of my favorite. He's the very first one I did. And just since that, I've done so many other. Coach Dusty Hubbard, I've talked to him. And just the chance to take an hour just gives you a chance to really find out a lot about a person, kind of like we're doing here, as opposed to a little 2-minute
facts
2-minute soundbite. Because to me, everybody has a story to
I'm
tell.
the same way. Everybody.
Sometimes I'll interview an athlete after a game or something. Why do you don't want to talk to me? There's nothing interesting about me. Yes, there is. There's something. Literally, everyone has their own story to tell, and I'm sure, especially at the high school age, some people probably struggle with that. There's nothing interesting about me.
I keep a note on my desk, and it's taped to my desk, and it says, everyone has their own unique story.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, I love it. Man. So got a few little kind of fun questions for you. All right. So it's no secret to the listeners, I'm a nerd. I'm a self-proclaimed nerd. I have no problem saying
I'm with you, man.
So you get your Doctor Who TARDIS. You can go forward in time, backwards in time, whatever. If you could spend a day with anybody,
oh wow,
past, present, whatever, who would it be and why?
I love the new Who, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. The old Who's interesting.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
But oh gosh, so we're sports history is really no parameters.
There's
on
no
that.
parameters. Anybody.
I'd probably go sports, and this is somebody I never had the chance to meet them, obviously. But to me, one of the most fascinating figures is Jackie Robinson.
Oh yeah.
Because I know people talk about now the challenges I have to overcome. Just to sit down with somebody like that, maybe just follow their journey. Because the things he had to deal with, and to still go about his life with the grace he did. Because if that was me, I would be filled with anger, rage. It's like,
he has so much composure.
Why am I having to deal with this?
Yeah.
Why? So I think that would be fascinating, wouldn't it? Just sit across from Jackie Robinson. Just tell me about your journey. What was that first major league game like for you to have to be out there, and yet you have people yelling these racial taunts at you from the other team, from the stands, yet you still had to focus and play what to me is the hardest sport in the world to play, baseball.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that would be fascinating. We're talking history. Gosh, Abraham Lincoln, that's an easy answer.
Bruce just said that.
I'm sure, but can you imagine that?
Oh, dude, that's what's it like having a country within your country?
Right.
You talk about literally saving the United States.
Literally.
Yeah.
He did that. And the decisions you have to make. I think Harry Truman would be fascinating.
Oh,
when
my
you think
God,
about
yes.
he finds out, he takes office, right? And oh, by the way, we have at our disposal this weapon that could end the world.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And you have to decide whether to use it or not.
Yeah. Have you seen Oppenheimer?
I have, yes.
Yeah, like
I haven't seen it.
Coach, you owe it to yourself. They're like, what's the probability that it like doesn't just keep exploding? And he's just like,
they did not know.
He's like, it's like a 0.000% chance. And they're like, wait, it's not like absolute zero. He's like, nothing's absolute zero. And it's like, what? Like they thought that thing was going to blow up and it was just going to keep blowing up. Like everything was going to just boom.
Just keep doing it.
That's wild.
That's a good question.
Harry Truman, more power to the guy. No.
I did. Sometimes you do get a chance to meet your heroes. I got, growing up, I loved Dale Murphy. Okay. The Braves, right? We didn't have, in the 80s, we didn't have much reason to enjoy baseball. It was an awful time. I love Dale Murphy.
Yeah.
And this goes back to my job in Dalton. I got to ride around in a golf cart with him at a celebrity golf tournament. Mm-hmm. And the nicest human being I've ever met.
That's cool, man.
He's like, Mr. Murphy. I was kind of like there's a SNL Chris Farley skit where he does a talk show and he's really nervous. That's kind of how, Mr. Murphy, I loved you growing up. And he was so kind and gracious. He says, thank you for doing this. And, sometimes you meet your heroes and it can be a little disappointing.
Yeah.
Just one of the most incredible people. And I find most famous athletes that I've had the fortune to talk to, they're just people.
Yeah.
Granted, you see them out there and they might make millions of dollars, but they're just people with families just trying to make their way, just like we all are.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Man. All right, so another little fun question for you. So you still getting your little Doctor Who TARDIS, and you can go to any point in your life where you were the most impressionable.
Oh, wow.
Would you tell impressionable you who you are, and what knowledge bomb will you drop on them?
I would probably go back to maybe my younger days, the things that seem so important and life-changing to you, especially like in high school. I would tell myself, listen, don't sweat that stuff, because there's going to be a lot more things that you should worry about.
Yeah.
But even if I had the chance, I don't know if I would, though, because to me that's part of what makes life. Yeah. Again, go back to that high school experience. That's what makes that such a memorable time in your life, is things that you look back on. Why was I stressing about that?
Yeah.
But you realize that's what made that time in your life so meaningful to you. Yeah. But if I could do that, I'd probably go back to high school and just say, listen, just don't sweat any of this. And I'd probably also go back to really young Kevin and say, hey, maybe you should not be an Atlanta sports fan.
They're gonna break your heart.
Do not. I know the Falcons are going to be in the Super Bowl one day, and you're going to want to go with your buddies and sit and watch it. Just stay at home. I could still that night when it happened. I was the first one of our group to realize what was happening.
Yeah,
I think it kept happening, and then Matt Ryan fumbles and. Yep. And I was the first one to realize what was happening.
Brady was happening.
Edelman has that circus catch.
Oh, that was crazy.
And there was a moment in that game after everything went wrong, and Julio Jones is one of my favorite players ever, makes this incredible catch on the sideline, and they're up by 8 points at this time. And despite all that, oh my God, finally we're set, because they're in field goal range. All you have to do is kick a field goal. And so what does Coach Kyle Shanahan do? Calls a pass play.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan gets that. But again, that's sports though. Yep. That's the beauty of it.
You never know.
I can't. My wife, bless her heart, why does it mean so much to you? You can't really explain it, because I literally, I'm a grown man on the plus side of 50. I cried when the Braves won the World Series in 2021.
Bro.
Yep.
I mean, when they did that,
so proud and happy.
And I can't explain why, but it just, you follow these teams, and especially in baseball.
Yeah.
I mean, these players, they feel like they're part of your family, right?
Yeah.
You see them so much. I remember going to spring training in 2018. I went down there to watch Acuna play because I wanted to see this dude in person.
Yeah.
And just, I remember his rookie year, and he got hit by the Marlins.
Yes.
I wanted to go there.
Yeah.
And start fighting.
Yeah.
How can you do that to my guy? I don't know him. He doesn't know me, but you feel like they're a part of you.
Yeah,
you know, that's how it was with that Falcons team. Yeah. It's just you go from this team's okay to boy, they're really good.
Yeah.
To like, oh my gosh,
This could be special.
yes. Yeah. And then but again, the great moments, the low moments. And when you have those awful moments, when you get like 2021, it makes that mean so much more too. So,
oh yeah, man,
I went off on a tangent there.
No,
you
good. That's the beautiful thing about this setting is we can chase those rabbits for a little bit. So one final question. Okay. We're gonna call this kind of the wrap up. So you finally reach that point. And you're like, all right, I'm done. I'm just gonna chill for a little bit.
Right.
What's your Hall of Fame speech, and what kind of legacy? Wow. What kind of legacy do you hope to leave?
I hope people look back and think Kevin just really did his best to make people feel like they were important. That's what I want to do. That's what I try to do every day. Honestly, you just want to make people feel appreciated, and I really try to do that. And you hope you make an impact. The same in the coaching business, and you can really see it as tangible when somebody comes back and they succeed in life. So that's kind of what I hope. And people say it wasn't just a job; it was really something that he believed in, and it is. Yeah. You know, so that's my hope. But you know, who knows when that's gonna. I mean, I still have other things. I want to do. I've in the back of my mind, I've thought about writing a book. It'd be it'd be really cool. Just maybe like on high school football in Georgia.
Yeah,
bro.
Just
I say you do it.
You gotta do that.
Let's do it.
Go to different communities, right? You go down to Valdosta, you go to Carrollton.
Ooh, yes.
And you just talk to people who are part of the football community and the history in those communities. You have chapter 1 is football in Valdosta, chapter 2 football in Brunswick.
Yeah.
So that'd be something fun.
So you could have a field day with just Lowndes County in general.
My gosh, yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I never. You say I could never be one of those guys who just sits around and does nothing, but I wouldn't mind giving it a try at some point. but there's always something you want to do. Oh yeah, right,
man. Well, Coach, you got any final?
One final thing. 2010, Troup has J.C. Copeland, Ja'Corius Cotton, Vondre Jackson, Kadarius Sanders. I pull up to the gas station on Whitesville Road, right across from the McDonald's. It's no longer there now, and I saw that front page, and I was probably the only kid in high school thinking like, man, Mr. Eckleberry did a good job on that. Like, bro, I still got that newspaper at the house. That's
awesome.
Like, so
now that is one of the things is a kind of a digital age now. I do really miss when a newspaper you actually would get it every day.
Yeah.
When you got to go to that machine and put the quarter in there and pull it down.
Especially sports wise, I still have at home some of the the big moments.
Yep.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is 2004 LaGrange state championship cover, which is the last game on turf at Callaway Stadium, which is really cool. But that's also, you mentioned 2010. It's so cool to me to see J.C. Copeland.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, what he's done with his life, and he's coaching over at Troup High School now, and he's making an impact on people. And there's so many people like that, people I covered who are coaching now. There's quite a few here at Callaway, and that is so cool to see them make that their life's calling.
Yeah. Man, we appreciate your time.
Thank you. We know you keep a busy schedule, so thank you for taking some time out of your day to come sit down and chill with us here at Callaway High School and the Real PLC.
Oh, this has been a blast, and I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I can't wait to listen to this one and all the other that y'all are doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's another episode of the Real PLC. Make sure you sign out on your way out of the meeting, and next time we come to your classroom, we better see it in action. Peace, everybody.